Hey guys, I am starting to try to make the caramel out of the sweetened condensed milk I made yesterday. It's in my other upload that I put out this morning. What I've decided to do is there's several different ways you can do it. One's on the stove top, one's in the crock pot. So I've put my sweetened condensed milk in the crock pot on high. Now, the way they showed to do it was put the can completely submerged. Well, this isn't a completely full jar. So it's going to float. So what I did is I filled it up to within like about an inch of the top rim, and the actual handle pushes, or the lid pushes it down in there somewhat. One person said that they left it in she left it in hers, because I double checked it, for about 6 hours. We're going to see how this goes. I'm going to just judge it by the color as it goes along. When it reaches a deep, rich caramel color, I'll actually crack open the jar and check it. But I've got it on high, right there, and I've got it down in there, and the lid's pushing it down into the liquid up past the level of the milk just a little bit. I don't have a vacuum sealer yet, so I can't suck all the air out of it to make it less buoyant. So, but anyway, we're going to try that. I'm going to give it a shot and see how everything works. If I have to get it in the can, I will, but I'd like to be able to make my own in an SHTF situation, which means all the way from scratch. So here goes the first try. If it doesn't turn out, I'll let you know. I'll bring you back later on this afternoon and splice these two videos together so that you can see how it progresses. If I see it changing in the meanwhile, I'll take another short clip so that you guys can see that as well. So anyway, I will be back after this thing has had a chance to cook for a long time. Now, I did put hot water in there rather than cold so that it would speed up the process to get it all the way to temperature. So I kept the sweetened condensed milk was in the refrigerator overnight. I hate leaving stuff out on my counter like that. So the milk inside that jar is cold, but we'll see how it works out. We'll see how it turns out. So I will talk to you guys after a while. Okay, this is after 4 hours in here so far. It's starting to get the caramel color. Let me get something to pick that up with. And it's getting pretty thick. Ooh. So I'm going to check it after 2 more hours and see how it does. And it's not fully submerged. The level of the milk, sweetened condensed milk, is below the level of the water, but the actual jar is not completely submerged. So, but it's starting to get the caramel color. So yeah, we're gonna let this go. Whoop, fogged up everything. We're gonna let this go for another 2 hours, and then we're gonna check it. And we're working on it and seeing how we can get this done. It's starting to thicken up though, so I think it's gonna work out really good. Anyway, I'll be back. Hey guys, it actually sealed like a water bath can, okay? Which really surprises me. I don't know if it would stay good for long term if you water bathed it, but it did. It sealed. But what I'm doing is I'm checking it. The color was a pretty caramel color after 6 hours. So I'm going to pour it. It's pretty runny. I'm going to pour it into this container and let it sit and cool off. And I'm thinking it's going to solidify more once it cools off. If not, I'll put it back in there and stick it back in there to cook a little bit longer. I've left my crock pot on. Okay, I just wanted to see if it would do it. It's got the right color. And some of it's pretty thick. So I'm thinking that it will solidify. It looks a little grainy. Now, do keep in mind that I didn't have this completely submerged, okay? I had it in this jar. What I'm doing is I'm making it smooth and not lumpy so that maybe it... Boy, it tastes like caramel. It tastes really good. I'm almost willing to bet that it'll solidify. I'm going to put a drop on there. Let it cool faster. See if that particular drop cools and makes it caramelly. Still pretty thin. I don't know if I should put it back in or leave it. I think I'm going to leave it for about 15 minutes and see if it starts thickening up. If it doesn't thicken up, I'm going to put it back in here. I'm going to put it back into the crock pot and let it cook for another 2 hours, because it was in there for 6 hours. And I don't know for sure if that will work. We'll see though. I'd like for it to be able to work. Of course, I didn't have this thing completely submerged. Now, if I'd had this thing full and all the way down under the water, then it would have been completely submerged. So, we're going to find out, because I have something I want to make with caramel. And, but it has the perfect color. So that's why I was thinking it was done, is because it had a really good caramel color. See? Beautiful caramel color. Anyway, I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes and we'll see. And if it doesn't start firming up, I'm going to put it back in the jar and I'm going to put it back in the slow cooker for another 2 to 3 hours. Okay, I went ahead and put it in for another 2 hours. I don't think we got caramel. I think we have a fail, but we will know soon, because it's more granulated. It's not smooth and creamy. I mean, it didn't even thicken up from the last time. So we are going to let this sit. I've turned this off, because if it didn't do it in 8 hours, it's not gonna. And we will know just how much of a failure that particular project was. Now, if it failed, it's got to be a couple of reasons. It's too thin. I'm thinking because it had airspace in that jar, and that it wasn't all the way down underneath and getting heat from all around. But that, you know, I don't know. It could be that it was made from powdered milk rather than real milk. So it could be that. But we will see. We're going to let this cool. I'm going to stir it a few times just to keep it mixed. We're going to let it cool and see what consistency it is when it's completely cool. I'm going to get a bowl partially full of cool water right now. It could be that it just needs to be cooled off, because it actually got darker from when I checked it last time. So it was doing something, and it's still the color of caramel. Put this in the cool water. Let it sit and see if it solidifies. I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a bust, but we'll find out. Anyway, guys, we're going to let it sit for a little bit. If it happens to solidify, I'll bring you back. If it doesn't, well, then the video's pretty much over. I need to probably skim that off the top, though. skimmed a lot of that foam off the top. Hopefully it will solidify once it cools. This water is already warm. I'm going to replace it with cool water. It's cooling it down kind of quickly that way. But yeah, it got that hot. It got that water warm in a hurry. But we'll see. Maybe skim a little bit more off the top. Regardless, it tastes good. It tastes really good. Now the stuff that was on that fork on the stove, it got a little thicker. So, I don't know. We'll find out. It's not smooth. It's almost granulated. Could be that I needed to boil it a little bit longer before I jarred up the milk. But you'd think that it would have done that in there. 8 hours in hot boiling water. Well, we didn't boil the whole time, but it was really hot when I put the water in there, and then it started boiling later. So, we'll see. I'm kind of bummed if it doesn't get thicker. I really wanted to do something with the caramel, and I wanted to show you guys what I was going to do. Kind of a bummer because it would have been awfully cool. I mean, I can always go get a can of it. But I think what I'll do next, if this doesn't do it, I'll make a double batch, and I'll boil the water and sugar and the sweetened condensed milk just a little bit more to make sure that the sugar is completely dissolved really well. And then the jar that I put in the water, which I can actually put it in a regular pot at that point because it'll be heavy enough to stay underwater, the jar will be almost full, which might make the difference. We'll find out. Alright guys, I'll put you on hold while this cools off. Gonna see it win, lose, or draw, fail or prevail here. We'll find out. Okay. It has had a chance to completely cool. It's room temperature. And it still did not make caramel. However, it's not a total loss because this will make excellent ice cream topping. And what I'm going to do to it is put a little sea salt in there and make a sea salt caramel ice cream topping. This is sea salt. I'm going to mix that in and have a sea salt caramel topping. I don't want to put too much salt in it because it might change it too much. Let me taste it. Okay, guys. It's a fail, but not a fail. It made a caramel topping for the ice cream. I don't know that it would mix with milk. We'll just try that right now. We'll see. Because they do have that stuff you can mix with milk. That's strawberry and chocolate. And I think the caramel too. We'll try it. And see what happens. Sorry, put that spoon away. All right. We'll be able to use it no matter what. I'm mixing it in. It didn't mix real good with the milk. Milk tastes good. It's not going to be a really good milk mixture, though. Like chocolate sauce. Okay, guys. That's it. The only other thing I can think to use it is either as ice cream topping or maybe make some buttercream frosting and mix it with that to make like a caramel flavored frosting. I've got a spice cake mix up in the cabinet. It might work. Probably just use it for ice cream topping. It was worth a try. I'm going to try the other recipe. I'm using the canned stuff and see how that turns out. And I will get back to you on that. It tastes good. It just doesn't have the consistency we want. So, anyway, if you'd hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, share with your friends, consider supporting the channel, and check out my links down below. And y'all come back and see me.